What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video we're going to be diving back into the Holiday Cup. Speaking of holidays, I hope you guys had a good one this last weekend. My family and I, we stayed at the house, had family over, and just had a great time over the weekend. But diving back into the Great League Holiday Cup, today we are running a kind of meta team here. Altaria, Alolan Graveler, and Double Legacy Dewgong right here, utilizing a lot of Pokemon that you may have on your roster. I know Dewgong may be out of reach for some, but for a lot of us, we have invested over the years into this Pokemon. Dewgong here is going to be our safe swap. All right, getting into the first battle, we have Altaria on the lead versus Jellicent. So this could be a decent matchup, but it does depend if they have Ice Beam. So what I'm actually going to do is look to catch the charge move on Dewgong because they threw at 5, which means if this is Ice Beam, it's going to be heavily resisted, and it was perfect. Able to catch that charge move right there, which is beautiful. And now when we come back into that fight later on, Altaria is going to have energy advantage. Now, a Sceptile comes in. This is so spicy. It is running Leaf Blade and Bullet Seed as the fast move right there, but thankfully we can do super effective damage with Icy Wind. So if they decide to let this go, it's going to be pretty good for us. Boom, down goes the Sceptile. Now, they basically wanted to lose Switch so they could get energy back on Jellicent, which is totally fine with me. But what's also great here in this situation is we have an Alolan Graveler in the back with Volt Switch as a fast move. And since we debuffed the Jellicent there with Icy Wind, we can easily let this charge move go through. Doesn't do too much damage, but 2 of them are gonna need to be shielded, so I will shield this second one. And now it's just gonna be a matter of a 2v1 versus their final Pokemon. We do have quite a bit of energy as well, and it's actually gonna be an Altaria in the back, which works out very well in our favor. This is what I found with a lot of teams that I'm facing in the Holiday Cup, is Alolan Graveler absolutely dominates a lot of them, and that Dewgong safe swap paired with an Altaria lead typically draws out any Vigoroths or Obstagoons that may be in the back. So we do get a shield there with the Sky Attack. We're going to go ahead and shield this next one. I did these battles a little bit ago. We got the Moonblast right there, so now we're just going to go ahead and load up on energy and go for a Sky Attack. This should be enough neutral damage to take it out. No need to overdo it and go for the Moonblast, just in case we need the energy on the back end, but Jellicent will go down to fast moves, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. So that obviously really came down to catching the charge move on the Dewgong. All right, we got a Dunsparce, shiny Dunsparce on the lead, which is super spicy. And you know what? I'm deciding to actually go into Dewgong right here. Same situation as before, but in this case, we're not resisting the charge move. These Rock Slides are going to be doing super effective damage, which is fine by me. But I have a feeling that maybe Altaria might be pretty good in the back. I could be completely wrong, but I just wanted to soak the energy here on Dewgong. What I did find in a lot of battles is Altaria does really well against the whole meta. Even Pokemon that would typically lose to like a Frostlass, right? Your charge moves still hit very hard and can put a lot of pressure. So we want to soak as much damage on as possible here on Dewgong, and we are able to get to another Icy Wind. And we do see a swap out now into what I think is their own Dewgong right here. No, it's a Double. Sorry, Double right there. So Double coming in perfectly fine. We're going to come in with Altaria. We're going to load up on energy. Their Dunsparce is extremely low. And I'm not going to shield this first charge move. That was a bit quick, which means it is just going to be a Body Slam. And since we did get that Icy Wind off, the attacks are dramatically lowered. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go for a Sky Attack here, trying to put some pressure on those shields, get this Double out of the way. But they decided no shield it, and they did survive. That is really unfortunate, but I can't give up any shields just yet. With 2 Pokemon, what we're reading right now, Dunsparce and Double, both weak to fighting, they must have an anti-fighter in the back, and it's going to be Frostlass. That's why I decided to shield nothing. I decided to keep my shields for Alolan Graveler because I had a feeling if there is a Dunsparce and a Double on the team, there has to be something that covers fighters or Pokemon with counter, which means it's going to be an Altaria, it's going to be a Frostlass, it's going to be a Talonflame, it's going to be a Pelipper. It's going to be one of those Pokemon, which means Alolan Graveler can do very well on the 2-2 and 2-1 shields, which is exactly what we have right here, as we can go for back-to-back Rock Blast now to take out the Frostlass. Boom! Down goes the Frostlass, and that is looking to be a good game. Now, it's not over yet. Dunsparce does have a lot of energy, but what I'm going to do is force them to throw both of their charge moves. Otherwise, I'm going to get to one more Rock Blast right here, which means they are now basically out of energy, and the Dragon Breath damage on the back end here from our Altaria will be able to take it. All right, good battle. All right, moving to the next one. we have Altaria versus Walrein on the lead. Again, a very tough lead, but instead of staying in to catch the charge move, I'm swapping out right away. Now, we do have a Beware come in, which completely threw me off. And I got a little concerned right here. I was like, wait, is that a superpower? So I'm going to go ahead and shield, but it was just a Drain Punch. So that is pretty spicy on them, running a Beware, which likely is going to have payback as well with the Drain Punch here. And thankfully, Icy Winds are still going to do a lot of neutral damage, and we can easily now let these go through. What I was more concerned about was that first charge move being a superpower. Granted, it wasn't enough energy, but you know, you get thrown off, a Beware comes in, you're like, hold up, and then you get hit with the superpower potentially right away. We needed to shield that one, but which is totally fine. We completely take switch here with Dewgong because it's just an absolute monster, and now we do have a Talonflame come in. So Alolan Graveler, this is what it's built for. Now, the opponent did a great job catching the charge move here, as I decided to go for Water Pulse. It still did a good amount of damage, but like I said before, when we have an Altaria lead and we have a Dewgong safe swap, it's gonna draw out that counter that usually does well against Dewgong and Alolan Graveler. In this case, it was a Beware, but let's say for theory's sake, it was a Vigoroth, right? That Vigoroth would have come in. Now there's a Walrein and a Talonflame that Alolan Graveler can core break. So as long as we can kind of soften up this Walrein here with Icy Winds and debuff, we're going to go ahead and swap in now. And this is looking to be a good game. I can easily just farm down right here. And I'm deciding actually now to go for a Rock Blast because I want to try to force one shield from them, so that when the Talonflame matches back up against me here, we can, actually, I think I decided to let this go. Yeah, boom! I decided to let it go because I wanted to close the game with Altaria, but the Talonflame here has a lot of extra energy. So I made a slight mistake. I think what I should have done there is just shielded and then farmed down, and it would have been a good game. I think there would have been nothing they could have done. So now I put myself in a very tough situation. I had to no shield that first charge move. It ended up being a flame charge. And now I'm going to have to catch the next charge move, because if this is a flame charge, we are now in trouble. So here we go. 1, 2, swap. There we go. We catch it. So I could have won this game by just farming down with Alolan Graveler, going for double Rock Blast, game over. But instead, I decided to go the hard route and forcing myself to no shield, call the charge move, right? No shield a flame charge, and then catch a Brave Bird as well. So GG's to my opponent right there. It's still able to take it as Altaria closes it out for us, but I definitely backed myself into a corner very quickly. All right, we got a Greedent now on the lead. Kind of interesting lead right here. There could honestly be anything in the back. Greedent pairs well as a great neutral lead because it can just apply a lot of pressure. You don't necessarily have to win lead. So we're going to see if we get a Crunch debuff. We don't get one, so we're going to go ahead and just load up on energy. And now I'm going to go for a Moonblast. Again, Greedent is kind of on the lead here to get an advantage, and Shields is hopefully one of them, which means they're probably no shielding. So I get to land a free Moonblast right there, which is great. Now, they also are not swapping out, so this tells me maybe Altaria has some play on the back end, so I'm going to go ahead and look to swap out myself now into Dewgong to catch the next charge move, because if there is something in the back that Altaria needs to handle, I need to keep it alive at least 50% HP. So we do bring in a Talonflame right here, which is interesting. It kind of makes sense if there's a Greedent on the lead, a Flyer in the back does make sense, but now I'm thinking, okay, what else could be back there? There's a Talonflame, there might be a Frostlass, there might be a Noctowl, there might be an Altaria, there might be a Pelipper. So this again goes to the similar mindset earlier when we saw the, Dunsparce Dubwool. There has to be something that is anti-fighter, anti-counter users in the back, which means Alolan Graveler is going to have a lot of play. And we're going to treat it exactly the same here for us in this game. Now, oh man, I almost had it right there. So what I need to do here is fully trust in Alolan Graveler. I'm going to completely sack the Altaria because I am reading this team that there is something weak. I could be completely wrong, but I'm reading that there is something weak in the back to Alolan Graveler. So let's see what it's going to be. It's going to be a Dewgong. Okay, so I was not expecting a Dewgong. That is more of an ABB line. So it's Greedent, Talonflame, and Dewgong. And what they were likely hoping to do is just sack Greedents, come in with Talonflame, load up on energy, and then have Dewgong potentially sweep or debuff or what have you. But in this case, I read the team correctly. thinking it was going to be a Frostlass or an Altaria, but it was instead a Dewgong, and it doesn't matter either way. Alolan Graveler is going to absolutely destroy right here with Stone Edge. Boom! One-shots the Dewgong, and in comes the Greedent, and we will be able to fast move down, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. So with this team, it really comes down to having Alolan Graveler sweeps, especially if you can draw out the counter user, or the counter to Alolan Graveler with a Dewgong. All right, so we got Frostlass here on the lead. We're going to swap out right away into Dewgong, and in comes a Togedemaru. So pretty spicy right here by them. We're going to look to go for Water Pulse first. This does a decent amount of neutral damage. Togedemaru is not that tanky. Water Pulse is a terrible charge move, but look at that. That is beautiful right there. We're going to go ahead and also let this charge move go through. I believe it is going to be the Wild Charge right here, which does do super effective damage. Boom! And now we're going to come in with Altaria and look to farm down. Again, we saw Frostlass on the lead, so we need to no-shield this. We got to trust in Alolan Graveler to sweep, but they could easily have a counter in the back with this team. So we're going to go ahead and farm down. And now this is a very dangerous situation. So what we need to do is we can't swap out right away. We need to try to force an advantage for myself. So I'm going to throw the Sky Attack. If this gets a shield, we have some play. No, it didn't. Okay, so we're going to come in with a Alolan Graveler. And now we are going to be doing as much damage with fast moves as we can. I will give up a shield to Avalanche, and let's see what they have in the back. They're not swapping out. Okay, there we go. It's a Pelipper in the back. Beautiful. So it kind of makes sense. They have a Pelipper and a Togedemaru in the back, hoping that the only counter really to Frostlass, not the only counter because Alolan Graveler is a counter, but a more common counter that they may have been seeing was Talonflame. So we're just going to go ahead and shield the Weather Ball right here and farm down. That is going to be a good game. We got 2 Rock Blasts ready to go, and Frostlass does not have enough energy or shields in order to win this game. So they will shield the first one, and we will throw the second one right now. That's going to be a good one. So again, Alolan Graveler, it's been doing it for me every Holiday Cup. If you guys go back multiple years of Holiday Cup, it's Alolan Graveler has been always putting in work. All right, moving to the next one, we got Altaria versus Noctowl. Now, this is a matchup you could just stay in and maybe just soft lose and get yourself shield advantage, but I decide to come into Dewgong instead to draw out what I thought might be in the back, which is going to be a Vigoroth. When you have a Pokemon like a Noctowl on the lead, you want to try to have covers in the back to its counters, so a Vigoroth does make a lot of sense. So in my case, an Altaria lead is really weak to Ice, and a lot of the Ice Pokemon are Frostlass, Walrein, and Dewgong, which is why I have Alolan Graveler in the back, right? So Vigoroth right here we drew it out, which is perfect. We are able to survive the Body Slam as well, which means we do get to another Icy win, and this is the exact setup that I need. Shield Pressure, which we don't get, unfortunately, which means now we are going to be simultaneously KOing right here. Neither of us wanted to give up an advantage. What we need to do is wait for that clock at the top to go down, because I might be able to see the Pokemon they bring in, but I'm going to bring in Altaria anyways, and in comes the Noctowl. Now, I'm still concerned about what that third Pokemon could be, but I'm not overly concerned because I know Vigoroth is off the field. So what I want to look to do here is go for a Sky Attack and then bail out into Alolan Graveler, especially if I get a shield. Let's see. We get a shield. All right, Alolan Graveler is coming in. Let the sweep begin. And it's going to be a double in the back. So still somewhat of a counter, but not as bad as Vigoroth, because Double Kick is doing less damage than counter would. So I can easily shield right here. It was a payback, which is beautiful. That's a really solid shield. And I can go straight for Stone Edges. It's going to force them to shield, and either way, it's a checkmate. So we do land it. Beautiful. Now we can farm down. And now this is going to be a good game, as Noctowl will be going down to the Alolan Graveler with the Rock Blast and Volt Switch damage. Now they decide to give up one final shield there to try to win, but I'm going to go ahead and shield this Shadow Ball and look to go for, I believe I just go for a Rock Blast to close this game out. But this is exactly how this team is meant to be played. We draw out that Vigoroth, that Obstagoon, what have you, with Dewgong, and then Alolan Graveler can sweep. All right, I believe that was the final one. Nope, we got another one. All right, moving in. I'm just looking at my time. I got my recorder over here. Oh, Shadow Victory Bell on the lead. Okay, so this is a really positive lead for us, and they swap into Vigoroth. This is a tough situation to be in because our backline is very weak to Vigoroth. So what we actually need to do is we gotta let Altaria soak some charge moves. I won't take too much damage from Razor Leaf. I need to make sure I stay above about 25% HP in order to beat the Victory Bell. So what we need to do now is let this go. We've already gotten a shield, and we already have a bit of energy as well, which is really important. So we're at 25%. We're going to go ahead and swap out now into Dewgong because the Vigoroth won't be able to KO us in time. So I should be able to get an Icy Wind off right here. I'm going to go ahead and let the Body Slam go through. We're going to load up, go for the Icy Wind. If this gets a second shield, it's game over. If it doesn't, and we take out the Vigoroth, which we barely didn't, they actually decide to swap out now into Lantern. So they still have Vigoroth in the back with possibly a Body Slam. I think it's 1 or 2 counters less, but I could be wrong. But let's just for gameplay's sake, let's just think it has a Body Slam in the back, and let's play accordingly. So they're going to go ahead and throw the charge move here. It is going to be the Thunderbolt, which is fine. We have a 2-to-1 shield advantage, and Alolan Graveler is in a very good situation right now. What we want to do is massively overload on energy. That Shadow Victory Bell is going to come back in. It's gonna. We just keep loading up on energy, and let's see, it's not swapping out yet, so I'm going to go ahead and throw the Rock Blast, but I do have a Stone Edge loaded as well. What you guys will see is the Rock Blast does get a shield. We see them swap out. I try to swap into Altaria, which I do get it, so now I should be able to get to the Sky Attack in time, and that is looking to be a good game, very well played. That way I have that Stone Edge ready to go, boom, for the Lantern. And I also, again, need to be careful about the Body Slam on Vigoroth. So we do see the Lantern come back in. They won't be able to farm down with Water Gun, so I will go ahead and let this go. And now I know, since there is a Vigoroth and a Lantern, I need to go for Rock Blast right away. And this, oh man, this is going to be a close one. All right, so Rock Blast is going to be able to take them out, and then the Vigoroth is going to come in, so we let 1 Volt Switch go through, and we survive right there. So good battle, very well played. That was the final one. This team was really, really strong. I mean, it makes sense. Altaria and Dewgong are extremely meta, and Alolan Graveler is hands down, 4 hands down, one of the best sweepers in this meta historically. And it continues to do so today. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.